Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, December the 22nd. It's Jim White and it's Simon Jordan. Arsenal Invincible, Martin Keown. We're with you all the way through until 1 o'clock. Of course, the last Friday before Christmas Day itself, coming up on the Monday. And a massive weekend, not just of football, but of sport in general. Boxing. The world of boxing has converged on Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Some of the big fights going on Saturday night. And talkSPORT is right across the lot. Live commentary of the whole thing on talkSPORT. But it kicks off tonight in terms of Premier League action. We saw last night Brighton go to Crystal Palace and get a draw in that something of a derby match. Aston Villa take on Sheffield United tonight. As soon as he's finished here with us, Arsenal Invincible Mr. Keown is en route to Villa Park, a club that he played for, of course, in the past, and he will be part of what is a talkSPORT exclusive tonight. Aston Villa against Sheffield United. The big question at the moment is, what would Villa fans take if you were offered now where you're going to finish up at the end of the season? What would you take right now? Would you take top 4? Would you take top 6? Would you say, no, forget all that, win the thing? We've got a great opportunity to win the thing. Villa will go top tonight with a win over Sheffield United. 1998, you have to go back to then, when they were top at Christmas and they then finished 6th. Martin, what do you think you're going to see tonight? Are you going to watch the champions elect?
Well, I think it's too much to say that Villa will be champions. We're certainly in the race, Jim. There's no doubt about that. When you look right across the board with all their statistics, I mean, I think it's 38 points after 17 games represents the best ever start from an Aston Villa team. So they already know they're in fantastic form right now. One would expect them to beat Sheffield United, who have improved under Chris Wilder. I was looking through some statistics on previously, just looking at number of shots faced under the previous manager, Sheffield United. 266 shots they were in those 14 games. Something was very wrong there, and Chris Wilder's changed that massively since he's come in. So they were trying to get something from the game, but I feel Villa.
Give it a go.
I think Villa with McGinn now. With Watkins running into channels ever better, the way the team just clicks beautifully, the two wide players tucking into midfield to form that sort of box that they have. I think Kamara's out, he was suspended last week. It doesn't seem to matter at the moment. Villa seem to have a really good, strong, Tielemans might be back again. So Jim, really Villa, and it's rocking right now, Villa Park. So I expect them tonight to be buzzing. Absolutely buzzing and be too much for Sheffield United.
I mean, what do you think Villa fans will ask them? I'll put it out there. 03717 223344. Villa fans, what would you take right now if you could? Your final position in the Premier League, top 4, or would you say no? We're in with a shout here. We can win this. Let me know. 03717 223344. Villa is a club, Simon, that you admire greatly.
I do.
Like myself, you'd know Doug Ellis a heck of a lot better than I did.
Yeah, very fond of Doug. Yep.
But I had various dealings with Doug, and he loved his football club. He said, we're one of England's great football clubs, and they are.
Absolutely.
Do you think they've got it in the locker to win this thing this season?
Well, I think this is I don't think they do, but I'm also prepared to accept I think this is a strange Premier League this year, and I think there'll be lots of twists and turns in it. They've beaten everybody. I mean, normally I would make the argument and go, well, hang on, let's see how they do against Man City, beat them. Let's see how they do against Arsenal, beat them. You know, and you start to suggest to yourself, well, hang on, these questions are being asked and answered. Over the Christmas period, they've got Sheffield United, they've got Man United, and they've got Burnley. Both Sheffield United and Burnley are at Villa Park. So you'd expect them to overcome those two sides. So, with that in mind, they're coming into the turning of the year in a very strong position. It would depend on how their squad holds up, what injuries that they have, because I don't suggest that there's going to be any loss of belief or togetherness in this group. I think Emery is a very sensible, balanced and focused manager. And I would be gobsmacked if Villa aren't in and around the top 4 by the end of the season, given the nature of the way that they're performing right now and the teams that they're beating and the momentum they're creating for themselves. I think it's really down to teams like Manchester City. If Manchester City up their game and go back to the Manchester City that we normally associate with them, which is clinical, putting teams to the sword and running out with formidable wins, I think they're the team to beat. Right now, they're 4th in the league. Villa looking good, Nick. I'd love to see Villa win the Premier League. I'd love to see it monopoly.
Be a great story, wouldn't it?
Of course it would.
Yeah.
No, not because it's comparable to Leicester City, but because it's a change. You want your Premier League revolving around different sides. I think that Liverpool's, Arsenal and Man City's have a lot more to say in this conversation than just, okay, what
they've got to
do?
look, haven't they? Villa have got to look at Arsenal playing this weekend against Liverpool and say, right, okay, we can push away a little bit.
Yeah.
Now. We can get these points in the bag.
We can be top of the shop tonight.
I think nearly 70% of Villa's goals are coming from their home games. They look quite formidable right now. So
I'm not seeing any messages of Villa fans coming in, Martin, saying we will win this league this season. Mike, the Villa fan, I'd love us to finish top 6. What a season that would be. Top 6. I mean, at the moment, if you win tonight, you go top of the Premier League. Top 6. The Steve, another Villa fan, I would take top 6 somewhere in there. So Villa fans may be playing it down a bit. We'll maybe get one or two of you to air very shortly. What about Sheffield United? Martin was talking about that very briefly, about number of shots under Heckingbottom, how Wilder will change that. As far as Chris Wilder's concerned, and of course Prince Abdullah, the owner of Sheffield United, told this show first, it would be Wilder. Wilder himself says, I'm going back because there's unfinished business.
I never really thought about it, Darren, obviously after I'd left in 21, and you don't know where your pathway is going to take you. Everybody else thought I'd unfinished business and thought I'd be back, but I just got on with what I was doing, really. I think there's always that little bit inside you that you think, what happens if you do get that call? That's something that, even first time it was difficult to turn down. It was going to be an impossible decision for me not to take up that offer made by the Prince.
And the Prince made the offer, and Chris Wilder accepted the offer from the Prince. You can hear more of Darren Bent's interview with Wilder on talkSPORT's Drive.
It's probably because he isn't inundated with other offers after the jobs he's done at Middlesbrough and Watford.
From 4 o'clock today. You always have a tweak at Chris Wilder, and I don't know why.
Because I don't like him very much. I don't like the way he operates. I hope he's successful for Sheffield United because I think they're a great football club.
But what's he done wrong here?
I just don't like the manner in which he operated at the time. I think there's something about Chris Wilder that rubs me the wrong way, if I'm honest. And I always try
there has to be. So what is the something?
I always try to be objective about people and try not to personalise it. I mean, I know I make throwaway comments and often I make observations upon people, but it never really comes from a position of personal dislike. There's something about Wilder. Maybe it's because of Warnock and his relationship with Middlesbrough and my perception of the cuckoo waiting in the nest to jump into the Middlesbrough opportunity, or whether it's the disrespect that I think that he levied against the owner. If the owner's fool enough to bring him back in again, that's up to him, and perhaps I shouldn't be offended on behalf of others.
I would have thought that would have been the opposite with Chris Wilder, because you always talk about, don't you, earning your stripes.
I did
the template of a manager coming through all the different stages at Northampton, Oxford United.
No, you're right. I really liked him. I really liked him when he came up into the Premier League and he was talking about the playing Chelsea. And we don't have to apologise for being here. We're here on merit, and we should be considered as a Premier League side. And I really like that. And then towards the end, for me, he's exactly the kind of manager that I don't respect, which is the moment things don't go the way I want them to do, I'm going to set the place on fire. I've lost a lot of regard for Conte as a result of it, because I think when you've been on the other side of the argument and you see managers turn against you, you think to yourself, that's not quite how it should be.
You think that should have been a roll up his sleeves moment for
I
Chris
think
Wilder?
so, yeah. I think he's very fortunate to be back in a situation where Heckingbottom has pulled the club together, got him out of the Championship, put him in the Premier League, probably wasn't good enough to achieve something, and Wilder gets to parachute in.
Well, Wilder is in there, and he goes to Villa Park tonight with Sheffield United. As for Aston Villa, and I'm putting it out there tonight, you win tonight, you go top of the league. Can you stay there? I'm looking at Villa fans to come in this morning and tell us, yes, we can. And I'm looking at Darren Haitley, who's got in touch saying, I'm a Villa season ticket holder. I know the club. Villa will win the Premier League, and we believe in Unai Emery. I like that, Darren. Anybody else go with Villa fan Darren? 03717 223344 81089.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.